Hi, today is October 1st, and this is day 31 of my 365-day series of reading through Henry Blackaby's Experiencing God Day by Day devotional. The title of today's devotional is Painful Reminders. Acts 14, verse 19 says, "Then some Jews came from Antioch and Iconium, when they had won over the crowds and stoned Paul, they dragged him out of the city, thinking he was dead." God has many ways to deter us from sin. One is to provide reminders for us so that we never take disobedience to him lightly. Before his conversion, Paul assumed that he was righteous before God. In reality, Paul was so disoriented to God that he arrested and executed Christians in order to please him. Paul was so blinded to God's will that when he watched Stephen being brutally murdered for his faith, Paul's heart was hardened and he became even more determined to imprison other Christians. It is significant that there are two occurrences of stoning mentioned in the New Testament, Stephen's and Paul's. Was it coincidence that God allowed Paul to be stoned in the same manner as Stephen had been? God had certainly forgiven Paul for his involvement in Stephen's death, but God also left him with a reminder of what his arrogance had led him to do. If pride could blind Paul to God once, pride could do it again. Perhaps Paul's thorn in the flesh was a direct result of this stoning. It may have served as a visible reminder to Paul and to others of the terrible consequences of sin. God is absolutely just. He loves and he forgives, but he does not compromise his righteousness. God deals with us uniquely. He draws upon our experiences to teach us about himself. God will forgive us of our sin, but he may provide stark reminders of the ugliness of sin. Let us thank God that he loves us enough to remind us of the destructive consequences of sin in our lives. This is a good devotional to remind us that even if God puts us through hardships, it's not because he does not love us. It's because he's showing us reminders of the consequences of sin and the pain of sin. And like in Paul's case, he was stoned after being hardened to Stephen's stoning, and it's very important that to remember that bad things that happen to you doesn't mean that God hates you or does not love you anymore. God always has a reason for everything he does in your life, and if that means going through hard times and a thorn in your flesh or any other hard instance in life, it's very important to remember God has his plan, and he's using these situations to teach you something. So thank you so much for listening, and God bless.